Congratulations on your birth. This is a gift for you. I hope you like it. Thank you. What's inside? It's baby clothes. It's handmade. Oh, I see. Handmade. As soon as she heard that it was handmade, I was worried that my daughter-in-laws looked disappointed. Immediately after, I witnessed an unbelievable sight. My name is Amanda. I lost my father when I was young and grew up in a simple life because it was a single-mother family. My mother was too weak to go to work, so she worked as a side job worker to make ends meet. And my mother was dexterous with her hands, so she could fix anything, from clothes to bags. Even if it is old and punctured or torn, it will be made as good as new in my mother's hands. When I was a little girl, I thought my mother had used magic. Now we can buy anything as long as you have money, but I think you have to take care of things. If you take good care of it, it can be used for a long time, and even if it breaks, if you fix it, it can still be used. I was poor, so I couldn't buy anything we wanted. Partly for that reason, my mother has always been a person who takes care of things. I've come to take it for granted. At school, some children made fun of me who couldn't buy new things. However, some of them were envious of my cute belongings, which were made by my mother. At some point, I wanted to be like her. When I was in elementary school, I began to help my mother with her domestic work and housework, and after graduating from high school, I chose a fashion vocational school. While many of my schoolmates were aiming for famous brands, I chose to work for a company that specializes in recycling. At the company, I was allowed to participate in a project to recycle old fabrics and turn them into new clothes and bags. It eliminates waste, is environmentally friendly, and is as stylish and inexpensive as new. As soon as it was sold, it was well received. About 2 years after I started working, I met Neville, who was a mid-career hire. He came from a local farm and got a job at a department store after moving to Tokyo, but he went bankrupt just 1 year after joining the company. After struggling to find a new job, he was finally hired at our company. The company's performance was steadily rising, and we were actively hiring people who were motivated even if they were inexperienced, so I think the timing was good. I want to be useful at the company where I was hired. With that in mind, I could see that Neville was desperately trying to absorb the knowledge. As I worked with him, I was fascinated with his sincerity and hard work. Later, we developed into a relationship. 3 years after we met, we got married. Soon after we got married, we had a son. My mother was very happy about the birth of her first grandchild. However, my mother, who was not physically strong, left this world as if she were relieved when she saw her grandson. My mother, who was my only relative, passed away, and I was terribly depressed. But for the sake of my newborn son, I have to get back on my feet. With the support of my husband, I was able to balance work and childcare. Blessed with a loving husband and son, a little happiness, time has passed. My son grew up with a squeak and became a good young man who resembled my husband. My son got married a few years after getting a job. The other party was named Caitlin, a lovely young lady who was 5 years younger than her son. However, it seems that my daughter-in-law played the hypocrite before she got married. A little while after getting married, she revealed her true character. Since we started living together, she has become more selfish because I have lost restraint. In addition, People's likes and dislikes are intense. She began to blatantly look down on us as a couple. Her family is a wealthy family in Tokyo, and many of her own belongings are luxury brand items. Whether it's visiting shops in New York or Los Angeles, or traveling abroad and bragging about the items they bought at authentic brand stores, that is likely with young ladies to have a very strong preference for luxury brands. On the other hand, we continue to live the same simple life as when we were young. Although I am not in financial trouble, I don't want to force myself to look good. In addition, the fact that my husband was from a rural area and had a lingering accent, and that I was a single mother family, may have been the reason why I was looked down upon. As a mother-in-law, if you talk too badly, you will get in trouble. I talked with my husband and tried to keep a reasonable distance from my son and his wife. You don't have to force them to understand. We just give them a greeting sometimes. Occasionally, when I saw my son, he would complain about my daughter-in-law. Even so, it seems that the son and daughter-in-law got along reasonably well. A year after their son and his wife got married, it was revealed that the daughter-in-law was pregnant. It's our first grandchild. Even though we weren't even born yet, we were ecstatic. I don't just want to give you money, I want to do something special with a baby shower present. Then why don't you take advantage of your strengths? But I wonder if you'll be pleased, Caitlin. I'm sure you'll be fine, I'll guarantee the quality. Since their marriage, they have only met their son-in-law a few times. I thought it would be less stressful for both of us. I just don't know what she likes. I listened to the opinions of the young women at the company and decided to prepare a gift. The present is handmade baby clothes. When my daughter-in-law entered a stable period and I found out that the gender was female, I used girlish red and pink colors and made them with great care. I think it was cute. Still, I was worried, so I showed the photos to the children of the company I had heard about before, and they praised me. They told me they wanted it when they gave birth. And the daughter-in-law gave birth to a baby girl safely. When my daughter-in-law was discharged from the hospital, I headed to the house where my son and his wife lived. Congratulations on your new baby. This is a gift, I hope you like it. Thank you, what's inside? It's baby clothes, it's handmade. Oh, I see. Handmade. As soon as she heard that it was handmade, I was worried that my daughter-in-law's expression looked disappointed. Perhaps because I hadn't seen her in a long time, I couldn't continue talking to her much and had to leave just by talking at the door. I was about to leave feeling a little heavy, but I didn't see my grandson's face. Even if I do so, I won't pay for it. I turned back the way I came and chimed in. However, after waiting for a while, there is no response. I suddenly remembered that he had said that he had turned off the chimes so that he would not wake up the sleeping baby. I arrived just in time and waited for the door to be opened just now. What should I do? Should I give up and go home? I hesitantly grabbed the doorknob. Then, I heard her screaming. It sounded more hysterical than happy to receive a gift. When you have just given birth to a baby, you are mentally unstable and prone to neuroses. I looked up worried, and there was a surprising sight in my eyes. Oh my God, bitch. Don't push unnecessary garbage. Do you think you're happy to receive handmade baby clothes? Oh. It's so poor and lame. My daughter-in-law was swearing and chopping up the baby clothes I gave her with scissors. What are you doing? My daughter-in-law, who turned around at my voice, did not have the slightest impression that she was a cute young lady when I met her. Her face, which was supposed to be well-formed, was distorted and even looked rather ugly now. Because the daughter-in-law is nearly crying. Was it because she was emotionally unstable? What's going on right now? Just as I was thinking about how to talk to my daughter-in-law, I heard a voice from behind me. My son came home from work. I had told him in advance that I would visit, but I guess he was late because of work. My daughter-in-law just cried and didn't talk about it, so I explained it instead. When my son finished listening, his face became genuinely dumbfounded. I can't believe you're chopping up a gift with scissors. What? I don't like handmade things like poor people who can't buy new ones. The daughter-in-law says that second-hand and handmade items are poor, and she doesn't like it because it seems dirty. Is she an OCD? However, the room I entered for the first time was so messy that I couldn't even put my feet up. It's not possible that she is an OCDL. I showed my son a picture of my phone to see what I had given her. The son, who was impressed by this, turned to his wife, who was still facing away, and spoke to her in a calm manner. "Caitlin, did you see the baby clothes you gave me? It's not worth watching." "Oh, it's Caitlin's favorite brand, Lily, and they also offer baby products." "Yes, I told you that my child was going to have everything in Lily, right? I don't need handmade clothes." She didn't seem to feel sorry at all. I was getting tired of my daughter-in-law trying to put herself in the victim's shoes, but I decided to explain. After experiencing childbirth and childcare while working for a recycling company, I thought that infant and toddler products needed to be circulated in society. Even if you buy a new one, your child will grow up quickly, so the time you can wear it is limited. I wanted to treat it as a company. About 15 years ago, I started a company with a colleague who had the same thoughts. We started by recycling infant and toddler products and gradually expanded our business. In the process of expansion, it began to sell clothing not only for children but also for adults. Now I'm also working on luxury brands. By the way, the brand name Lily was taken from my mother's name. My mom is the founder and former president of Lily. Oh, it's a lie, isn't it? It's true. The baby clothes I sent to Caitlin were also prototypes that I designed for my company, and I was wondering if I could commercialize them as they are. I'm sorry you didn't like it. Even after explaining so much, the daughter-in-law refused to accept the reality. Certainly, I didn't mention that I am running a company. Because I hadn't had a chance to talk to her intimately until now. My husband's father is a countryman, my mother is a poor man in a single-mother family, and in comparison, I am the daughter of a rich man living in the city. I thought I was in a better position. That's why I couldn't get my prejudice out of my head. My mom and dad are stubborn, so they don't change their old lives, and when I was a kid I thought we were poor. I'm not stingy. I'm just taking care of things and not wasting them. Even my son thought so maybe I looked poor when other people's wives saw me. That's not the reason she looks down on me. Rather, I thought as I looked around the room I was in. There was too much unnecessary stuff. While there are expensive home appliances, Housework seems to be neglected. At a glance, I knew that his wife was a person who didn't take care of things. 2 weeks later, my son came to our house with a baby in his arms, and I asked him about the situation. From the beginning of his marriage, his son has been swayed by his daughter-in-law's selfishness. She didn't do much housework, and she often went out and splurged. The source of the money is the bride's parents. Although she grew up, she got pocket money from her parents. It would have been better if that was all there was to it. The son suspected that his daughter-in-law had a shadow of a man. It seems he used a detective agency to investigate. Then, it turned out that there was a man who had been in a relationship before marriage. She cheated on him. It turned out that she was connected to a cheating man even after marriage and was paying tribute. That day, after I left, my son gave evidence and questioned his daughter-in-law. However, the daughter-in-law only cried and did not talk, and as a result of calling her parents-in-law and discussing it, the divorce was decided. Although the divorce was easily decided, the fight about which family took custody of the newborn child. However, the daughter-in-law's interest was in the cheating man, and she was reluctant to raise children, so she was able to get custody safely. The daughter-in-law ran to the cheating man, but the other party ran away because she was asked for alimony by the lawyer her son requested. Since then, the bride seems to have withdrawn to the house. That's where the consultation came in. Okay, leave it to me. Before he got to the point, I understood, so my son looked surprised. You don't have to tell everything. I know firsthand how hard it is to raise a child while working. Then, together with our son, who had moved into our house, we began to raise the baby. My son was on his own, and the liveliness of my house, where I had been living quietly with my husband and wife, has returned. Raising children when you are older is hard. Still, I can do my best for my adorable grandson. The three of us are going to raise them with love.